In this lesson, we'll be importing a CAD file from another file format, in this case an IGES file. Now an IGES file could have been created from any other type of CAD system, and when you bring in other file formats into Mastercam, there's always a few steps you may want to take to improve the quality of that file. So I'll go to File, Open, and I'll navigate to my Download section, and I'm going to grab the file called chain-guard-import.igis. And when I click Open, it comes in, and it looks like it comes in just fine. Whenever I bring in a file format that's other than Mastercam, I go right to the Home menu and I click on Statistics. And the reason is because I want to see what I'm working with here. And in this case, I'm not even working with a solid. I'm working with one arc, 45 untrimmed surfaces, and 124 trimmed surfaces. In fact, if I click on these individual faces, you'll notice that the entire solid body is not selected, and that's because there is no solid body. In fact, you'll notice here it says Selected Entities 6. So the first thing I want to do is simplify this by turning it into a solid. So I'm going to either hit Escape or right-click and Clear Selections, and I'm going to go to the Solids tab and click on From Surfaces. Here I'll be able to create a solid from specific surfaces. And using the prompt here, I can either window select, or I'm just going to hit Control A and select everything on my screen. When I hit End Selection, the From Surfaces panel shows up. These are all the surfaces I selected, and I'm going to delete the original surfaces when I create this solid. So I click OK, and we'll now notice that on my Levels Manager, I have two levels, and each level has one entity on it. If I select this face, the entire solid gets selected. I'm going to hit Escape to unselect that, and finally, if I go to the Home tab and click on Statistics, you can see that I have one arc and one solid. So obviously this is the solid, and if we spin the part around a little bit, we'll see that there is in fact an arc here. We're going to keep it for now. We can always delete it later, but it's good to know what we have for entities within our part. And one final note with this file, if you recall from a previous lesson, we looked at our Levels Manager, and one of the options here was to ignore blanked entities and count. So right now, we have one entity here. If I unselect this option, so it will use those blanked entities as entities to count, you'll see that I have 264. What that means is that I have multiple entities that are blanked or hidden on my screen. This is often the case when you bring in a file such as an IGES file that has surfaces that make up the file. For now, it's just important to note that we have these blanked entities. I'm going to go in here and turn this back on, so we only see that one entity. In the next lesson, we'll go through and repair this file using a few features within the Model Prep tab.